And welcome back. Had to take a break there. There was some stuff going on off camera and everything that I had to deal with. Is a little hectic there, so I apologize for that. Being a little discombobulated there, but we'll try to get back on track. Um, what I want to cover in this next section, in the last one, we covered how to sit down and kind of think out the who, what, how, where, when, and why of more of a social situation, where violence could occur. And then at the end of it, there, how to use means, opportunity, and intent. The next thing that I want to cover is more of a predatory type of a situation. Normal places that you go, like the supermarket or whatever, that you would possibly run into something. Um, you would maybe ask yourself the question. We'll use the supermarket for an example because it's a place that that everybody goes to or has to go to for some point. Um, Around here, a lot of people go to Walmart. There's a big supermarket in the Walmart, and a lot of times people go late at night because they don't like to wait in line. And they think they can get in and get out quicker, and they buy the groceries. And you have people that work night shift jobs and get the stuff on the way home or whatever. Um, Generally, what you're going to be looking at for the who, what, how, where, when, and why, um, just to go ahead, kind of speed things up, is you're going to be looking at dealing with a problem that doesn't necessarily happen, in Walmart, because they may have the means to do it, but they don't have the opportunity to because they're wanting to hit and run and not go to jail. You see similar situations with this with a trend going on right now, the knockout game. Generally, where this stuff happens, not always. Anything can happen. It's a crazy world. But generally, where you're going to see it is if you're coming from one place to the other. Like for example, it doesn't happen in Walmart. It may not necessarily happen in your car, but it may happen when you're leaving Walmart to walk to your car. You see a lot of people pushing groceries, a lot of people talking on cell phones and things of that nature. And we're not saying you can't talk to people or whatever, but when you put yourself in that situation, once again, you bring those three things together. You bring the means, the opportunity, and the intent. And like I said, you've got to get rid of those things for it to happen. Um, One of the things that you do, and like I say, generally, when you're looking at some kind of predatory thing, unless it's a situation where you're going through a divorce and there's like a custody battle or something like that, then the who could change and you look at something else. There's always those weird kind of situations, but you're going to look at just, hey, you know what, call them back when you get home, or call them when you're in Walmart before you leave to go to your car. Don't be fumbling with your keys. Pay attention. Walk with confidence. Act like you got some sense. Um, just make yourself be not a good target. It's much easier to wait on somebody. If they see you coming, it's easier for them to wait on somebody and that's talking on the phone, that's not paying attention, that they can run up on, hit them and get out. Somebody that's waiting on them, and looks like, yeah, I hope somebody attacks me, I kick their ass. It's not as easy. They'll wait on somebody else. There's always somebody else that comes along. So you need to pay attention during situations like that, and that's going to help you out because they have the means, they have the intent, but if you're watching for them and you're aware what's going on, they may not necessarily have the opportunity. And if they think they do have the opportunity and they want to be brazen about it, or try to be slick about it, there's tells for that. For example, let's say you got your groceries, you're putting them in a trunk, and somebody approaches you, in the dead of the night, and they're walking towards you, and you see them doing this kind of stuff. They come in and there's nothing around. There's no cars coming. There ain't anything going on. My first thing is they're looking for security cameras. Make sure they don't get caught on something. This should be a tell for you. Another one would be what we call an imminent weight shift, and sometimes this can be very, very subtle. I mean, really, mainly don't let anybody get close to you anyway. And don't look like you want to be helpful. They leave you alone. But an imminent weight shift, and that's right before somebody will say they're going to knock the crap out of you. Um, a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times, there'll be a shift to the dominant side, and it can be very, very subtle. We train like police with it. A guy, they may not have been able to run the check yet, and he may have an outstanding warrant, and you see something like, let's see. What, man? Why are you always hassling me, man? Come on, man. I don't want to go to jail. Shit, I mean, that type of a thing. And when you seen it was like real subtle and it looked very natural, but that's the kind of stuff that they use to set you up. That's a decent setup. Another thing you want to look at, and most don't most don't pay attention to it. And I haven't really seen a lot of other people talk about it. I learned about it, kind of studying anthropology and studying animals. In 2005 and 2006, I used to, do like a lot of wilderness survival, and it was like the cool thing to do because the Hunted with Tommy Lee Jones had just come out. It was a really cool movie, and some of that was based on a guy named Tom Brown Jr. And I got to go to some of his wilderness camps and train with the guy. And one of the things that they talked about in tracking was that you have certain animals that have a certain gait. And as humans, we're animals. Some of us are more animals than others, but we're all basically animals. But we talked about a diagonal walk, and humans are natural diagonal walkers. And what I'm talking about is we don't lumber. We don't, like one move this side, this hand moves with this leg or whatever. That looks weird. And the only time that a human would necessarily walk that way in general is if they're either angry or bored, or they're up to no good. And I'll just show you what I'm talking about first, but let me kind of show you. You can tell that it looks kind of abnormal, but the way a normal person would walk, like with a gait, would be like like that. And you see when this leg comes forward, this arm comes forward. That's normal. What's abnormal is this. You see, that just doesn't look right. It just don't look right. Something looks real funky with that. And that's because there is something funky with that. It just isn't normal. Things like that, you should draw your attention. Another thing, somebody standing in front of you, you see their elbow point out. Okay, that once again is kind of a tell. That may be going for something in the waistband. They I look for this to move, look at this to move. No, the elbow is really the good one. Because you look at this. If I go to reach into my waistband, watch my elbow, okay? I'll get down like this so you can see it better. I get down my elbow and I go to reach in my waistband. Regardless of how I reach, whether it's in the front or the side or even the back, the elbow is going to point. I see that, that's also a good tell that there may be some kind of imminent danger. But hopefully, and in a perfect world, you don't let them get that close to find out. But those are, some kind of awareness and avoidance tips. Once again, I don't want people to be scared, to live a normal life. And you're going to find yourself in situations, regardless, where means, opportunity, and intent all sync up. Doesn't mean you're definitely going to be attacked, but it means that you should be more aware during those times. And when you sit down and you kind of draw out, like I said, you do it with your family, you do it like I say, your civics group, your martial arts class, and draw it out. You're going to see redundancies and stuff like where while it's really highly unlikely hear that something could happen, but this, I really need to start paying attention to this. And you're not sitting around, paranoid all the time, worried about shit that, is probably not going to happen. And you can have a little bit more normalcy in your life. Um, but those are just, some basic things. And in the book, with as far as like those examples, we'll have better examples of those and everything. It's kind of cramped in the area that I'm in, but as I mentioned, the book will be kind of interactive. We'll go into much more detail in the book, but we'll have barcodes on the pages that will that you can actually scan with your phone, and it'll take you to videos where you can see this stuff, so you can be reading it in the book, come up on that barcode, scan it, look at the video example of it, and then go back to reading and kind of understand everything that's going on. I appreciate your time, and hopefully, we gave you a few things to think about. Like I said, we didn't want to go, too in depth in this one, but you can actually take, means, opportunity, and intent, and kind of give you a little bit of understanding. On our last episode too, when we were talking about the societal change delusion. Um, I didn't want to get too much into it there either, because it kind of got off track with that, and then with this episode, I don't want to get much more in track with that because it goes, off of this. But they can kind of work together and intertwine as well. But I appreciate your time, and hopefully, maybe you picked up a little more knowledge, and when you're reading something where it looks like somebody's trying to just make you paranoid as hell, you'll know the reality of it. Um, and you guys be safe out there and have a good one.